right, breaking news this morning. President Trump arriving in Saudi Arabia on his first major overseas visit of his second term. Air Force One getting an escort by Saudi F-15 fighter jets. And the president getting a royal welcome on the tarmac from the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Trump then traveled by motorcade to the Saudi royal court for a more formal greeting. Saudi Arabia is the first stop on his 4-day swing through the Middle East. The trip giving Trump a chance to prove himself as a deal maker on the world stage. He's set to speak later today after attending a lunch with some of the world's top CEOs, including Elon Musk and the leaders of OpenAI, Google, Boeing, Amazon, Nvidia, and Coca-Cola. Trump will also visit Qatar and the UAE on this trip, and it comes as he's defending his administration's plan to accept a $400 million luxury jet from the Qataris to use as Air Force One, a prospect that's raising all kinds of ethical, legal, and security questions. CNN's Jeff Zeleny is traveling with the president and joins us now live from Riyadh. It had already been a really busy trip. What is the president focused on here as we see new pictures this morning of him and the leader of Saudi Arabia?
Good morning, Sarah. President Trump arriving here overnight to a fanfare in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, exactly how he would like it. Met with trumpets, American flags, Saudi flags as well, and escorted all along the way by the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who of course is a close ally of the United States and indeed a good friend of this president and the administration. This trip, which the president is setting off on, which is the first major foreign trip of his second term in office, is actually quite brief, just about 3.5 days or so. But today he is focused exclusively on making deals, trying to increase investment in the United States. He's coming with a large contingent of U.S. CEOs, multinational CEOs as well. They are meeting for a luncheon and then later having a meeting here in Saudi Arabia with Saudi officials as well. But this is much more about making investments in the U.S., reaching deals rather than focusing on the geopolitics of the region, which of course is hanging over this administration. Many of the challenges facing the Trump administration, of course, and the world are not being discussed as much, at least in the opening hours of these meetings, as the deals that are coming underway. And you mentioned that airplane. The president, of course, arriving here in Saudi Arabia on the old Air Force One, but the new controversy over a plane he would like to be Air Force One is certainly following him here. He is making no apologies about the idea of accepting a plane worth some $450 million or so from the Qatari royal family. Many things have to happen for that to fall into place. Many Republicans have criticized this. Democrats, of course, have as well. But the president is embracing that. He will actually visit Qatar on his next stop here tomorrow before going to the UAE as well. But for today, at least, in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, he's following in the footsteps of his first trip when he became president some 8 years ago. He also stopped in Riyadh, but at that point he was introducing himself to the world. Now the world is well aware of him, of course. He is trying to cement some business deals, many of them also including the Trump Organization and the Trump family. Since he became president, of course, the deals of the Trump Organization and Trump family have increased some threefold. So no doubt that is also a subtext to all of this, Sarah.
Absolutely. He has become a richer man while in office as president. Thank you so much, Jeff Zeleny. Great reporting there from Riyadh.
Overshadowing this trip, of course, is that $400 million plane that Qatar's royal family reportedly offered to the president.
Respectfully, sir, as a businessman, some people may look at this and say, have you ever been given a gift worth millions of dollars and then not received anything?
It's not a gift to me. It's a gift to the Department of Defense.
Well, that gift is raising serious legal and ethical questions and also sparking pushback from members of the president's own party. Senator Shelley Moore Capito saying she'd be checking for bugs. Senator John Kennedy questions the legality of it. Senator Josh Hawley says it would be better if Air Force One were a, quote, big, beautiful jet made in the United States of America. Let's bring in now our group chat. Joining me, Phil Mattingly, CNN Chief Domestic Correspondent, Chuck Rocha, Democratic Strategist, Senior Advisor to Bernie Sanders' presidential campaigns, and Ashley Davis, former White House official under President George W. Bush. So nice to have all of you here. So this is the first foreign trip for the president's second term. Starting off in Saudi Arabia, and yet, Phil, I'm going to start this with you. As we look at everything that is coming into play now, these pictures, a big royal welcome, we've got a big purple carpet. This plane is really going to dominate, and certainly dominated the conversation ahead of this trip. How damaging is that to potential deals?
I think what it does actually is it frames this entire trip. If you watch what's been going on right now, when you came on air, President Trump and Mohammed bin Salman were talking to Travis Kalanick, the co-founder of Uber. We have seen a steady line of not just top officials from both sides, but also from CEOs, executives. The most wealthy U.S. business people in America are in this delegation on this trip with the sole purpose and drive towards making deals. This is a transactional presidency. This is a presidency that has made very clear that top line numbers, $7 trillion in domestic investment, has been the key behind the scenes that people like Howard Lutnick have been pushing CEOs to try and reach in the lead up to this. Now they're pushing that into the Middle East as well. The plane certainly looks, as Republicans are saying, probably like that's not what's supposed to happen. And yet, I think that's going to be the through line of what we see over the course of these, the kind of three-country swing in the next couple of days.
So when you say through line, we look at that plane, the through line, Ashley, in some ways being, so what am I getting here? There is an art of a deal, right? There's a give and there's a take. Is that really the message the U.S. should be sending right now?
Well, no, but I think this has been a complete interest of his from the beginning. I mean, obviously, he's put a huge emphasis on the Middle East, and I think he's going to continue to, and not just for deal reasons, but also for diplomatic reasons. But I'm not convinced. We have to remember this president is the best president to have us all look at another area when something else is going on over here. I'm not convinced this plane thing is real. I am convinced that he's floating this because he's really, really mad right now that the Air Force One plane has not been done in 8 years. And is this more of a little bit of a threat? But you're right. I mean, it's taking the air out of the room. It's kind of like I'm running for a third term to get out of Signalgate conversation. I mean, this is what we're talking about.
Or maybe I don't want to talk about the fact that the China deal isn't really a deal, right? Or you had to pull back on tariffs to the point of things being ready earlier. The security concerns, the legal issues, the ethical concerns, just to make this plane sort of ready, if you will, and secure would take a number of years in and of itself. Chuck, when we look at the pushback we've seen, again, not just from Republicans, but from Democrats, there is a call for ethics investigations, right? A letter to the GAO from Congressman Richie Torres that Axios was reporting on. They're going to look into this. What does any of that do? Even if you have the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, people saying, yeah, we should look into this. And?
Normally, not just one thing with Donald Trump is enough. It's one thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I think he does that, to my sister's point, on purpose sometimes. But on this one, it's kind of, people understand big, giant airplanes from foreign countries. They may not understand what the CBO is or what the Office of Budget Management does, but they understand a big airplane that comes from another country. The first thing that an old country boy like me would say is like, I wonder if they could put bugs in something like that, because it seemed like they could listen to everything that we're saying. It's something very elementary, as the elementary part of this newscast this morning. But seriously, when you think about what Democrats are talking about, it's just another thing. And I think a lot of this foreign trip, if you look at who's there right now, and that's what we were talking about in the green room, it looks like everybody's there from this White House. Is there anybody left here in D.C.?
The entire cabinet's there, practically.
There are a lot of people from the administration. There are a number of business leaders, as you point out. Elon Musk is supposed to be there, the head of NVIDIA as well.
Elon Musk's brother is also in the delegation?
I mean,
no idea why, but just in case.
What we know is that
He's the Solar City guy, so maybe it's for the solar reasons.
It's true.
But in terms of all of that, right, when you look at to the point of, is this a distraction? Chuck, what do you think it's distracting from?
There's a big budget going on right now where they're talking about cutting $16 billion out of Medicaid. That's just one thing, but there's so many other things on top of that thing.
Phil, what are you watching for to come out of this meeting? When you talked about the through line, we talk about the deals, we know there's supposed to be an agreement, but what specifically are we anticipating is going to be connected to those big zeros?
So you will see a lot of pledges for investment. There's no question about that. The U.S. businessmen that are over there, there's also a Saudi business delegation that is in every stop on this trip, there are explicit efforts and have been a lot of groundwork laid in advance of this trip to set up for trillions, not billions, trillions of dollars in commitments. They know how important that is to the president, these foreign leaders, and they plan to give him that or put that on the table. I think what's more important is this is not just a purely transactional business dollars and cents. This is a diplomatic effort. This is now kind of the linchpin part of the president's diplomatic strategy. If you look at everything that's been going on in the world, in the Middle East, but also with China, with Syria, with kind of across the board, Mohammed bin Salman is a critical, essential player. Qatar is a critical, essential player. The UAE, critical, essential players. They have been very quiet in this part of the world over the course of the first 125 days of the Trump presidency. Behind the scenes, they have not.
Yeah.
And I think the kind of full scale of what's happening right now and how the center stage of the entire diplomatic universe is where the president is, that's going to be what to watch.